Good day to everyone. Today, I will be giving the bird's eye view on this subject, Assessment of Student Learning 2, this second semester 2020-2022, 21 to 22. On what are you going to do, even myself? First, in terms of your class attendance, that is so very important that you have to attend all the sessions that we'll be having, starting this January 13, which this orientation be given to you. Then followed by the next day, the next session, which is January 18. Still, I will be discussing with you on the topic of this subject. On the next meeting after 18, we have 20. Still, I will be the one to discuss on the content of the topic that you have to learn in this subject. So, after the 20, immediately I will post my test for the discussions that I have given starting today up to the 20th of this month. So, please attend all of these sessions so that you can answer the test that I'm going to give you, which is the formative test on the topic that I had discussed. Take note that last semester, I failed 6 students who didn't really attend sessions regularly. They have to attend only for the month, they have to attend only once, sometimes only 2. And at the end of the prelim or midterm and finals, they don't have good performance. So, at the end of the semester, they failed the subject. Those students messaged to me that they have to asking of some project that they are going to perform in order that they can pass the subject. I am a teacher who is not giving any request of projects in order that you can pass the subject. Because I'm always measuring the performance that you had done during the scope of time, during the prelim, midterm, and finals. If you fail to do that, I'm so sorry because I can't help you. All of your grades will be based from your performance given to me, your attendance, and your quizzes. Those are only 2 of the 100% part of your grades. So, do not be absent. Always be on the session. Number 2, when reports will be assigned to you right after the 21st and on the 20th, after that on Tuesday, the following week, there will be already reporters to be assigned. You know how you will be performing your report because you are my former students in our assessment of Student Learning 1. I always emphasize that you have to study your report. You have to research in order that you can explain more and you can give examples. I don't really accept reporters who are just reading from the books. Or sometimes you just have all the text from the book copied, put that on the screen, and you read it. I will not permit you to do that. You have to redo your report if ever you did that. You have to work hard in order to get high grades, because my grades be given from 50 to those who will be redoing the report up to 95. The highest grade that I can give is 95%. So you know already how I would, what kind of reporter that I'm going to, that I have to accept. Those who can articulate, those who can have some samples, and those who can discuss well. So take note of it, that if you cannot deliver the report on what I would like to let you do it, you have always to redo and redo your report until I am satisfied that your report is passable to me. Because you always fail if you will not prepare your report. So always prepare your report. Number 3, you have to prepare at least 15 to 20 or more than that items. Test that we called it formative test. Remember, it is not summative. It is formative. That is after you report to check whether your students or your classmates understood of your report. Then you have to post your formative draft report. That is one day before your report schedule. So to give me time to check if your questions given were correct and directed to the topic. As much as possible, do not give enumeration. Because enumeration, you will just copy it from the book in as much that we are an online. So you have never do that. Another one, true or false. If you have to give true or false, I would like to advise you to have the modified true or false. What kind of test that I would like you to give? These are the number 1, fill in the blanks. 2, you have to have the matching type. And those are, and also essay. You have to give at least 1 or 2 numbers of essay, and see to it that in the essay report, they will not copy the answers from the book. They have to expound their answers in their own, from their own words. Never accept if they will give you explanation taken directly from the book, because those are not an intellectual way of answering. Do not give essay questions 1 to 5. That is very difficult for you to check. I myself, good for myself, because I really know what the trend of your answers. But for you, you are just your students, it is very difficult on your part. So what you're going to do is to have 1 or 2 to give points of at least 3 or 4 points. If the essay, answers on your essay type of report, of questions, is really expounded well. Then, in your reporting, I will go back to reporting, aside from the explanations, discussions that you have taken from the research, and do not do away. Because I found out before, when you are having our assessment of student learning 1, you forget the topic from our text. You concentrated from the research that you made, which the students cannot follow. So if you have some researches from the book for your explanations, you can have your research. Then go back to the book, to the text. Do not leave everything from your research and you forget the topic that you're going to discuss, because still you are to redo again. Redoing of report is very tasking to you because you have to prepare your video. You have to research more. So take note that when you will be given an assignment as a reporter, do it religiously, because I'm really viewing your report if you have done it well and it could be understood by the listener. The most important there is your report can be comprehended by your classmates, because they will be answering the questions that you are going to give. Then go back again to our questions. So if I had given corrections in your questions, you automatically make the new one or the revision of the questions in which I had pointed out, because it is not really it is not really what is a speak of the topic that you're delivered. So aside from that, you give examples to show that you understand your report. If you cannot give examples to your report, it means to say that you did not understand your report. That is one way of my observations to you. Number 3, I will continue. So if I say that you can post, if I can approve your draft for the formative test, I will communicate you that you can post to your classmates to answer. That's the time that you have to post to let your classmates answer your questions. Next, another one. In your formative test, always think of it that after 1.5 days of giving that formative test, you try to communicate your classmates that you have to retrieve their answers, to post their answers so you can check. On the second day, in the afternoon, on the second day after you have posted your report, reporter will post the scores of the students in order that I can record, and also together also with your attendance. So take note of that, my dear students. So that's why it is very important. Reports, that is 25% of the 95 rating that I am going to give. 25% of that will be your grade. And also for the to those classmates who are answering the questions, I will be recording your report, your scores, and at the same time, I will be recording your attendance. Everything will be recorded. You can see in my report given to the school that everything that you have given to me will be given back to you, because I am your teacher that will never imagine what is your grade. What grade can I give these particular students? I am not thinking of that, because I'm always very particular of the performance that you have given it to me. Another one, as a reporter, our medium of instructions, you have to use English. Do not use Filipino, because our subject, Assessment of Student Learning 1, the medium of instruction is English. So you have to have your English communication. Do not say that you will be using, at this time, you will be using Filipino, and then you will be using vernacular, and then English. No, I will not accept that. So before rendering your report, having your video, see to it that you have practiced well on how to express your ideas on the report that you are going to deliver. So my dear students, always remember that I am always very, very particular on the medium of instruction. Number 4, projects. To give more performance or ratings to be added in your prelims, midterms, finals, I always add their projects. Projects will be given a rating of 50 to 90. The highest is 90. So expressed well, I always let you work with at least 200 words or 250 words. Always count, but do not count the article, the of, the and, the is. Do not articles. Do not your simple verb. Do not count that. Only the words you count into 200 words to express of what kind of projects that I am giving it to you. Because I always give projects in both terms, in the prelim, in the midterm, and on the finals, in order to help you to pass the subject. So that is again 25% be taken from that. So both of them will be graded according to your performance. So you already know who am I in giving grades. I am very serious because I want you to pass. That's why perform well so that you will not fail the subjects. Next. Also, I am reminding you that again and again, to those things that I have enumerated above, do not forget to do it excellently so that for sure you can pass the subject. Then, this subject, we have here a reference, Assessment of Student Learning 2. Authored by still the same author from our ASL 1, Laurentina Paler Calmorin, PhD. But aside from the book of Dr. Calmorin, I also incorporated I make it into one book, as I have made so that you will not be having another book. I also included one book which is still about Assessment of Student Learning 2, authored by another author with Leonardo Gabayo and Gary D. There are two authors in this book. I incorporated it in one only copy that I have had given to the same person, our school librarian, Christine Estefania. You can borrow the book. And so that if you have some amount to have the photocopy of that book at 1 peso each, it's just a very what is this? It's just very cheap. One copy I paid only for 300 plus. That's already complete. So that you do not have your photocopy for your assignment in reporting only. I am advising you to have a photocopy the whole book. The whole book, the two books that I put into one, incorporated into one, so that you have your full, you have your full copy of that book. And you can review and review so that for sure you can pass the subject. You know very much that Estefania is within the administration sometimes, most of her time, because she has no people to attend to in the library. So you can see her at the administration and ask, because you know her already, Miss Estefania Christine, and you can borrow the book for photocopy. Be careful in borrowing the book that will not be destroyed, so that could be used if ever we cannot do it in a normal way, face-to-face classes. On the second semester of next year, we can still use that book. So be careful in having a photocopy, but my best advice with you is to have a whole copy of the book. So you can study more of all the lessons being reported by the reporters, and you will understand later, especially the explanation given by the author. And you can give also examples. You can cite examples, because you can read well and comprehend on the content of the book. So that is, do not forget, that is our reference for this semester for our assessment of student learning 2. Dr. Laurentina Paler Calmorin, the same author as we had last semester. And if this book of Dr. Calmorin will not be enough for our reporters, I inserted another book, as what I had said. I had repeated to you, still Assessment of Student Learning 1, which you can find in the National Bookstore or Christian Bookstore or Rex Bookstore at the Jangas Heights. This book authored by Leonardo Gabayo and Gary C.D. But if I were you, so that you will not be, because that book of Leonardo cost you 300 more. But why not have only the whole book that I have made, given to, I let in the hands of Miss Estefania to take care of the book in which you can borrow. So I hope you understand already and take note of the author. And I have here the book of Assessment of Student Learning 2. This is the book of Dr. Calmorin. Next next video, I will show you the book of Mr. Gabuyo and Mr. D. I will show you that book also if you want to have a separate book. If you don't like to have to photocopy the whole book that I have that I leave to Miss Estefania. Take note. You copy this one so that you will know on how to rate yourself, and you know if you can pass or not based on your performance. Take note. This is our grading system. We have here formative and summative test. I think I have to write this. Next meeting, I will post this it there. Formative and summative test, 25%. Reporting and projects, 25%. Prelim, midterm, finals. Each of them will be receiving 40% as a result of your exam. So, this is the problem, that those 6 students failed last semester. They were not able to take the prelim. Sometimes they were not able to take the midterm because they were not able to pay their dues. If I were you, you have to pay ahead of time. It is really very difficult if you cannot pay because the result of the test is 40%. So if you miss that, and the test will be always 100 plus items. So 40% of that is really a big already points for you to be added by your quizzes and summative test, by your projects and reporting. This is the highest number of percent given in our grading system. So, I hope you understand that missing the prelim, midterm, and finals is really very difficult. Also, I am warning you, some of you, even there is no requirement of payments in your summative test, you also missed to answer the summative test, which I had given to you 75 to 80 items. So that is 25% will be added to your quizzes to make it, to have more scores. But what you did, those students that failed, they didn't care to answer. For them, what they always say before during our face-to-face classes, bawi ako dok. But they were not able to have the bawi because they are also absenting themselves during the session. I am very particular of that. I always record it. If you missed your record, very sure that you cannot pass the subject. The last one is your attendance. Your attendance will be multiplied by 10% to make, if you have 13, most of the three terms, examinations, the prelim, I always take note that there are 13 meetings. So if you take 100% of 13, that is 10. That is 13 times 10%. You have a very high rating. Adding together. So we will enumerate again this grading system of ours. We have quizzes and summative tests, that is 25%. Reporting and projects, that is 25%. Examination, that is prelim, midterm, or finals. Each of them will be having 40%, and your attendance is 10%. To add it all, we have 100%. So that is our grading system. So you already knew that if you missed it, you will not gain any of the subject. So I always remind you that activities given to you, reports given to you, do it well. And also attend classes, because your scores, you don't have scores if you will not attend classes. Another one, no internet. Always the reason of last semester students. It is still the same. You were my student before. Always the reason, because you are living in the high mountain. If you think that you have your exam, take note. Go to the place where there is an internet. Have always the load. Take note of the load. Your fare in coming to during the face-to-face classes, use that to buy your loads. You have said, I have no money to buy my loads. So what happened to you? You are coming to school, but you are not performing. Your time, resources, and effort. But you did not pass the whole semester. So it is sayang for you. Remember that. That you have to go back again. Because I do not know to other teachers in which they think that they have to give projects. But for me, I will never give projects. Because I want always performance of the things that I have oriented or given it to you that you have to perform, no other else. Because if you do that, if teachers doing that, that is not a good practice. Because during your time, if you can pass your board exam, your LET exam, do not do that to your students, that you have to ask, to have to give projects just to let them pass. You are not measuring their performance. So what happened to the students? They passed the subject, but what happened? They do not learn anything. So that's why I always put that in my mind, in my heart, that I always record your performance. What you give to me is what also you receive. If you do not give anything to me, you will not receive also nothing from me. So always remember that it is really very difficult to give that test. Taking of special exam, I'm not fan of that. Because most of those who will be taking the special exam, they got high scores than those who got ahead of them. Because they continue asking their friends, what are the contents of the exams? So for me, special exam is not worth to give you grades. So, my dear students, those are the things that I had given it to you, and always remember that do not give any bargain, do not ask pala any bargain to me just to let you pass. Because we are working here performance-wise, so that when you will be graduating, when you will be taking your board exams, and there are times that to those to those students, because your exam is multiple choice. So in other words, in our vernacular term, that is bintot-bintot. So they will just answer because they cannot understand, they cannot even comprehend. And it happened. Nakatsamba sila sa answer. So what happened? They passed. But even though you passed the board exam, but if your transcript of records has the grade of 3.33, 2.5, 2.75, 2.3, that is not good grades. So in that particular time, what happened? It becomes that you yourself could not be employed. You cannot be employed because they will not accept you as a teacher, because it shows in your performance. Although you pass, but your grades will not warrant. Because remember that the score of grade of 3, that is from 75, 76, and 77. So it means to say that is very, very, very low grade. So reminding you always, my dear students, study very well. Do not ask other people to work for yourself, because I noticed in some of your activities given, you copied from the works of others. And I know that you can not really perform such kind of work. So that's why instead of giving you high grade, I give you the lowest score of grade of 50 or 60. Because I knew very much that you copied from the other one who is really articulate in expressing themselves. Because I am giving you this report, this particular activity, my dear students, in order to measure if you can really perform as a good teacher someday. So, you might say that I am strict. No, I'm not strict. If you know me, I am very, very helpful. That's why I always check your work one by one. Because I do not imagine, I'm not used to imagine what will be your grade that I have to give you. During the face-to-face time, my students, I show to them my class records about their performance. So they knew that they will fail because they are not performing. They cannot even express themselves. And you are now third year. Next on the first semester of next year, 2022, 2023, you are now fourth year. But you cannot express yourself. So, what kind of students that we will be producing in this school? Take note that your alma mater always leaned on you in passing your board exam. Board exam will measure how good are the teachers in that school that they were able to let the students give the right reasoning, the right comprehension on the subjects that they were going to take. So that's why project is not important to let you pass. Always perform when you will be a teacher. Always lean on your performance, the performance of your students. That is I myself. I always do that. So much for that. For the next video that I'm going to have, that will be on, you can view this one on the 18th of January. That is Tuesday of next week. Always have or attend or view my video so you can understand. And if you have time, do not delay. You go to Miss Estefania and have a photocopy of the whole book, not only to the topic that you are going to report, because it's unfair to yourself. Because if you cannot understand the reporter what she or he is discussing, you cannot refer to the book. So the best way is to have the whole book photocopy. Okay? See to it that on Tuesday, that is on the 18th, you are to view my first lesson on this subject. Thank you very much and good afternoon.